I don't remember the exact date, but it's been a good number of years. And so our kids have grown. Some of you have seen our family grow over the years. We've been in Ecuador for 7.5 years total, but prior to that, we were in Portugal doing language study, and so Somerset started supporting us when we were living in Portugal. We run the Bellevue Foundation, or Camp Bellevue, which is it's more than just a camp. We do a lot of different things. It's a nonprofit organization. It's funded by the Bellevue Church of Christ outside of Seattle, Washington. And there are three main points, I like to say components of our ministry. The first is we're there to serve and bless the community where we are working. The second is to work and bless the churches where we're working, the Church of Christ there in Ecuador. And then the third is to also foster and develop relationships with churches here in North America. And one of the exciting things about that is when a church comes down to Ecuador, we're kind of in this unique position that we get to encourage them to do what God is doing back in their home state or home city or whatever that may be. And so trying to encourage them to be more active in their church back in the States. So why don't you come on up and we're going to discuss these three components, okay, a little bit. And so the first one is serving our community, and we do this in several different ways: after-school program, disaster relief, medical and dental clinics, and all these things have kind of an evangelistic component to them. So Laura's going to talk a little bit about the after-school program that we do.
All right, so we do work a lot with children. That's one of the big outreaches that we have at the camp. And it's probably the main focus, at least during the school year, of the ministry at the camp. So we run an after-school care program for between 80 to 100 kids in our community every school year. So the Ecuadorian school year runs from September through June, and our program runs from mid-September through mid-June. So these kids come 4 days a week to the camp, 4 afternoons a week from 2:30 to 5, and they get help. We do a devotional every day with them, so singing and teaching Bible stories, learning memory verses, things like that. They get a snack every day from us.
Some of these kids don't get lunch, so they come from poor families, and often that's their midday meal.
Right. They do get tutoring and help with their homework every day in classes that are organized by age and grade. And then something that I've been doing, so I've sort of taken a step back from being involved every day in the after-school program, but one of the things I continue to do is teach English classes to the kids. And so each class gets a 30-minute English lesson with me every week. English is a required subject in school in Ecuador, but that doesn't really mean a whole lot. It doesn't mean that the kids are actually learning to speak English. Most of the time their teachers don't even speak English. So I try to focus on things like pronunciation and learning vocabulary and things like that. So anything that we can do to help them get a step up in the world and hopefully give them some tools to help break that cycle of poverty. One of the other things that I do is I help plan our special activities and events. And so every month or every other month, we try to plan some fun activity. For this picture is our Carnival day. So every day, every year around Carnival, which happens about 6 weeks before Easter, we have a day of water games, and we bring out this huge piece of plastic, and it's just a giant slip and slide that we set up outside our house, and the kids just have a blast going up and down on that slip and slide. They have shaving cream fights and things like that. So I help plan our Christmas party. We do an Easter activity every year. So things like that, I try to plan those fun events for them. At the end of every year, we take the kids on a field trip off campus to somewhere fun or educational. And so we've taken the kids to the zoo, which is not too far from the camp. And last year we took them to an archaeological site that was about 30 minutes from the camp. And the interesting thing about these kids, even though they're local and they're from this part of Ecuador, a lot of them don't do any traveling. They don't go out and they don't see these things, even though they're not far from their homes. And so for some of these kids, going to the zoo, that was the first time they'd done that. Or going to this place, that was the first time. We sometimes will just take them to a movie. And the movie theater that we go to is in a shopping mall with an escalator. And some of these kids have never seen an escalator. So watching like 5 and 6-year-old kids trying to figure out how to get on that moving staircase, it's just kind of hilarious. But anyway, we try to just provide them some opportunities that for fun and for educational learning experiences that they're not going to get in their schools. Then we look for opportunities to be a blessing to the families of the kids in the program, and one way that we found to do that is through the annual clothing sale that we have at the camp. So we receive a lot of donations from groups that come and stay, clothes that they just give, or shoes, or other household items, and so we've started doing a clothing sale every year, and we sell the clothes to the families for very low prices, $1, $2 per item. And we found that this is a great way to clean out our inventory so that we have space to receive extra donations later on. But also, we weren't sure how it was going to work when we did it the first time, but we found that the response was really positive. The families felt good about not only being able to pick and choose the things that they wanted to purchase, but they felt good knowing that everything they were spending was going right back into the program that their children were benefiting from. So the kids don't pay anything to attend our program. They pay $5 at the beginning of the year to enroll, and then everything after that is given for free. So this is one way the families feel like they can give back to the camp and give back to the program. So we tried it the first year. We thought, well, we'll see how this goes, and we had such a great response that we've continued to do it. I think this last year was our 3rd year to do it and to offer that clothing sale. And then as groups come and go, North American groups that come to serve at the camp, we try as much as possible to incorporate them into the after-school program. We've been really blessed to have a group from Harding University several years now at the camp for their spring break mission trip. And they come down and several of them, at least this has been the case for the last few years, are Walton Scholars, which means that they're from Central America and they're attending Harding on a scholarship. And so they already speak Spanish, and so we are able to easily incorporate them into teaching Bible lessons for the kids program and helping with devotionals, helping with their homework in the classes. And then this particular group, we tried something a little different this year and had them do some hands-on science STEM classes with the kids. And that was really fun, and the kids just loved the lessons that they taught. Just simple things, simple lessons. We used Magic School Bus videos, and then we did a little simple experiment later. And one thing that I found with the kids, they learn science in school, but there are not a lot of opportunities for those hands-on type of learning. And so one of the things we did was we made a telephone, with the 2 cups and the piece of string. And the kids just loved that. And I thought, how funny. That they did every day, and the theme, if you can't tell from the picture, was Moses and leading the Israelites out of Egypt. So we had...
There's a couple Somerset kids over here.
Yeah, you might recognize some people up there. But we had a Pharaoh, and we had the Egyptian army, and we had the parting of the Red Sea, and all that stuff that we did in the dramas, and it was just a really great vacation Bible school.
What did you all, Jimmy, or DP or Bill, What y'all think of the vacation Bible school program they put on for us?
It's pretty hardcore. It's awesome.
I had somebody, my uncle who was there, he was just amazed. He said, "You guys can do so much with so little." he was just blown away by the creativity of the people that put the skits together. So another youth group that came down to help with they put on some kickoff summer parties for the kids. They put on one for the children. They put on another one for the youth. And none of these kids spoke much Spanish, but what they decided to do was they did a little drama set to music, and they performed it 3 or 4 different times throughout the week, and it was really powerful. We were very impressed by the message they were able to convey just through acting with no words while the music was playing in the
They're
background.
teenagers, and they did basically a skit or a drama geared towards teenagers. You know, a young lady finds Jesus and how important Jesus is in her life, and then as she's growing up, you know, in her teen years, she starts encountering problems in the world and challenges and how the world tries to draw her away, and she gets into all this stuff and just hits rock bottom, and the only way she can get out is coming back to Jesus. And so it was a powerful message, and they didn't have to use any words to communicate that message. I mean, we were in tears when we saw it. This is the same group.
Yeah,
The foam cannon.
they
So you ever seen at the airports those big, like the fire trucks that have those big foam cannons that shoot foam all over the runway or something like that? You see them in the movies. I've never actually seen one in real life, but anyways, that's basically what this is. We rented a foam cannon, and the foam was like this deep, and I thought we were going to lose children down inside this big mountain of foam they were playing in.
But yeah, they had a great time. That was during one of the summer kickoff parties that we hosted for the kids.
So construction.
Yes.
So that's a lot of the things that we do with kids, and in the area, the kids program, and reaching out to children in our community. The group that did the drama, also we took them to a public school nearby, and did that there. And they also did a sports clinic for those kids there. And then another thing that we do a lot of is, again, talking about serving the community, construction type projects. And so this is actually a group from Hardy, and then there's another picture of them there, replacing the roofs of these old mud brick houses that we find around there. And a lot of these, here's another picture. You can see that's kind of finished on the right, it's finished on the left, they still have to put tiles down, okay? And so what we're finding is a lot of people in our community where we are live in these adobe or mud brick homes, but the people that typically live in those homes are the elderly, 70, 80-year-old, often widows. And these houses, the material is really good, and it's a really well-built house, but the roofs are
Deteriorating.
thank you.
Collapsing.
I forget English sometimes. So the roofs are collapsing and deteriorating, and so we're able to go in with a group of, that doesn't have construction skills or building skills, and we can replace these roofs on a lot of these homes. And some of these homes we put cement floors in. One of the best ways to eliminate disease in the third world or developing country is to have a sanitary floor in your home. And so you take out the mud and you put cement in and you give them a clean floor. This is a project we did for a sister in the church. We went to her house right before Christmas. The African Ecuadorian woman there on the left. She's a sister in the church. We found out about her living conditions. Her house had been built, but it wasn't finished. And so, these support columns like this are all made out of cement. They had never actually poured cement in here, so it was just open rebar. And the walls were there, but there was no support for the walls. So the walls were you could push on the walls, because they were just these cinder blocks, cement blocks, but there was no support for them. And she was living in this house. And the other thing too is, that's just a big gaping hole in the wall, right? And so wind was coming in, dust, it was cold. She lived there with a couple of kids, and the house was probably twice the size, if that, of the stage area here. So it wasn't a big place. But I took all these guys, pretty much all these guys here worked for us at the camp, and so we took all of our men staff and went in and tried to do some work on our house right before Christmas. And you know, it was one of those, how can I be in my cozy home and know that this sister in Christ is living in this condition? We do a lot of projects to, you know, simple stuff, but, you know, that people can do. We do some more complicated stuff. This is a couple of girls painting a church building, and so we've done several things like that recently. Another thing that we do is dental and medical campaigns or clinics. We have a dental team come down from the University of Tennessee every summer, and some of these folks are not even Christians, and that's exciting to me because they're coming to work with us. And we're collaborating with the local church, and that local church is doing the evangelism or following up with the contacts that are made at the dental clinic. And so God is using even non-Christians to spread the gospel. And to me, it doesn't get too much more exciting than that. We serve an awesome God. We do medical clinics. Did Jerica help this year? Yeah. So this is, those of you that were down this summer, this is right up front of the medical clinic. So we don't actually have it's a little bit later, I think. We do have another picture of that. So we use whatever we do, whether it's construction, whether it's dental, whether it's medical, we're trying to use those to touch people, reach people in our community for the Lord. And there's always an evangelistic component to that. So I'll talk about that a little bit more. The second component of our work is to work with the Church of Christ in Ecuador. We do that in various different ways, also with summer camps, with outreach, the evangelism, with the different social outreach projects that we do, leadership development. We're involved with church planting and that sort of thing. And as I said, all of these kind of have this evangelistic component to it. If you were down this summer, you met Guillermo, who's there on the left. He works for us full time. He's an evangelist, a graduate of the Bible College there in Ecuador, and he's a great evangelist, you know. And all of the contacts, recent contacts that have been made and baptized are because of the work that basically that he's doing. This sister now is originally from Cuba, and she's a medical doctor. And just a few months later, we baptized her sick mother, who had to return to Cuba. So there's a lot of evangelism that goes on, and a lot of different work with different churches. This is we were blessed to go out and visit a church out in the Amazon region last spring, and this is interesting because it's in Shushufindi, okay? And these Christians they live in 3 different towns that are about 20 miles apart, 30 miles apart. And so what they do is, one Sunday they all come to one of the members' homes in one of the towns. And then the following Sunday they'll rotate to one of the other towns, to one of the other members' houses. And then the next Sunday they'll rotate to the 3rd town. And so that's kind of how they're able to meet together and worship together in that way. We often get asked to present or to do classes or preach at different churches. Laura was asked to do a ladies' seminar. What was your theme? Do you want to share anything about that?
So this was a ladies' ministry at a church in Nevada, which is about an hour from camp. And they asked me to speak on the theme of discipline, which that was a challenge. It's not a typical theme. So
discipline is in what way?
Well, I mean,
self-discipline?
I think they wanted it geared more towards discipline of children, like in the home. And so that's the direction I took it. But, you know, discipline is such a broad theme. We can talk about how we discipline our kids, but, you know, there's also we can't really talk about that without talking about how we receive discipline from the Lord sometimes. And so I hope that it was something helpful for them.
So that was on Saturday, and Sunday they asked me to preach, and on the same theme, discipline, but specifically discipline in the church. And they gave me some passages out of the Old Testament in Isaiah chapter 1 that I've never used in a sermon before. So it was kind of fun and challenging to use that and talk about discipline. Jimmy, what time do we need to be done?
About 22.
Okay, great. I also teach a class at the Bible College occasionally. My brother-in-law, Laura's brother-in-law, is the director of the Bible College in Quito. I also do, this is a personality inventory that I do. I work with a lot, and I'll do this with church leaders or church planters and that sort of thing. One of the ways that we are involved in church planting is we kind of have a coaching or mentoring relationship with several Ecuadorian evangelists that are in a church planting situation. And these, so there's, I think that's Julio up there, yeah. So Guillermo, who I showed you a picture of a second ago, he works for us full time, but he's also involved with a new church plant that I'll mention here in a minute. Christian over here on the right, Christian is sponsored by a church in Florida, but they work through us, and so we're kind of his liaison and his coach to work with a church in Machachi that's about 2 years old, and his wife is going to have a baby here in a few weeks, their first baby. The guy up on the left is Julio. Julio is Guillermo's father-in-law, and Julio is working at a church plant in Quito that we worked with about 6 years ago that's gone through all kinds of problems, and so it's nice. I mean, it's a blessing to have an older, mature, experienced couple working with that church as it goes through all the growing pains that a young church, well, even older churches go through, but young churches especially are kind of as they're developing their identity and all that. And then down here on the bottom is Sandro. Sandro is working with a church about an hour and a half north of the camp, and they just celebrated their 1-year anniversary. They have, I believe, 25 or so baptized believers there at the church, and they average about 35 on Sunday morning. So that's an exciting work. And then this is the church plant that Guillermo is focusing on, and we attend when we're there and not busy visiting other churches or doing other things. But that's really the limit of our involvement there, unless they ask me to preach. We want this to be an Ecuadorian-led church with Ecuadorian leadership, and they make their own decisions and that sort of thing. But this church has been going for 6 or 7 months, and they are averaging over 40 on Sunday mornings. And so this is, for those of you that were here this last summer, this is the same group that you worshiped with on Sunday. This is just the meeting location where they were before they moved into the place that we worshiped on Sunday. Another thing we do is youth camps. And so we have a group that comes down from Florida every summer to put on youth camp. Over 200 people are at this camp. They had 17 baptisms just in youth camp this last summer. And so they have an exciting ministry that they come to the camp. And, you know, our role in this is basically making sure they can do camp, because, you know, over 200 people is pretty taxing. I mean, Laura's in the kitchen 16 hours a day or more, preparing meals. If you do the math, she's really preparing like 225 meals. 3 meals a day, that's 675 meals. And then over the course of a week, we're, 3,500 meals or something like that. And, and again, we have a great staff, and they, we can't do it without our staff. So that youth camp is incredible. We do other youth camps. We do basketball camp. Basketball camp is something we started a few years ago. We've had several conversions just through basketball camp. It's incredible. I believe you can use just about anything to teach the gospel, and we're using basketball to do that. This is another picture of basketball camp of just some random fun silliness. Just random fun silliness, basically. So these are, we've done some other camps this year. Those girls up in the left corner came from York University to help us with basketball camp this last year. They played ball on the women's team at York University, and one of them is a coach now. And so we're trying to raise the level of basketball also, which is kind of exciting to me. And then over here on the right, we had a sister in Christ, Sylvia Rivers. She'd come to Ecuador for several years, she hadn't been to work with us for a couple of years, but we invited her to come down and do choir camp. And so Bill and another brother from the Bellevue Church up in Washington, they did song leading type seminars for some of the church members down there. And they don't know how to sing in harmony, kind of like we do. We're Church of Christers. We're people of the song. But in Ecuador, they don't know how to sing four-part harmony. And so one of the things we're wanting to do is encourage them to give their best. Right? We're supposed to give our best to God, and as musicians, that includes giving our best vocally and musically to God. And so she came down and she did choir camp, and it was incredible to take 25 Ecuadorians who can't hold a tune in the bucket, and by the end of the week, they're putting on a concert, a choir concert, four-part harmony. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. And for many of them, it was like the highlight of their year, because a lot of them that participated in that, there were some adults that participated in that too. They don't get opportunities like that. And then down here, we had a team come from Oklahoma to do English camp. And so we're doing English camp. And basically what they did is connect with Let's Start Talking, and they use the Bible to have conversations in English with young people there. And so they're just having Bible studies all day with these people. You want to talk about kids camp a little bit?
So kids camp for 8 to 12-year-olds is a camp that we did it for the 5th year this year. And, when we started it, we weren't sure. Were we going to have anybody come? But every year our attendance has increased, and this last year we had over 60 kids. So we're just going to keep doing it and see what God does. But Cindy and Guillermo, you can go back.
Yeah.
Those that came down this summer, you recognize Cindy and Guillermo. I plan it, I organize it, but they really help me to. We come together and we pull it off together. I stay more behind the scenes and I let them get up there in the front and dance and be silly. And they were doing a skit here. They're just a joy to watch together, help direct this camp. But we had a great time. And one of the things that from the 2nd year, I tried to start incorporating into kids camp was a service project. So a lot of these kids, they come from churches near where we live, and I wanted to find a way that we could help the kids understand the concept of giving back and serving, because I think kids they're the future leaders of the church, but they also, right now, have a lot to offer, and they get excited when there's something that they can do. So we've done different things. We've taken them to visit a retirement home. They passed out blankets. They served a snack. They sang. We've done cleanup projects. This year this was making these no-sew blankets that you tie. They're like 2 layers of fleece and you tie the fringes. So we made 40 of these. The kids helped make these 40 blankets, and then we donated them to a prison ministry. And we had a gentleman who was involved in prison ministry and a member of the church. He came to the camp and he talked to the kids about what he does and how he ministers to these incarcerated men. And then the kids donated the blankets, and we also donated some pillows and some little sacks of like soap and toiletry type items to the prison ministry. So that was
That was something we organized the year before, the summer before, was a conference for prison ministry. The churches in Ecuador don't do prison ministry. We had several gentlemen come from the States that do prison ministry in the States, and so we were able to put together a nationwide conference for that, which is going to lead me into another thing that partnering with the churches in North America. So we host a lot of groups from North America, and we want to involve people. We want to put to use whatever you're gifted in, and your gifts and your talents and abilities. We don't always get to do that, but we try our best to do that. So Bill got to do a song leading workshop or 2 this last summer. And then Jimmy, you all know that ugly guy up there, right? Jimmy got to do a conference on abuse there for the churches in Ecuador. And the guy there on the right is my brother-in-law. Josh, he's the director of the Bible College. And then the guy in the middle is Hugo, and Hugo is an evangelist from one of the local churches who also participated in the choir camp. And then, yeah, and then that guy there on the left, we'll just call him Jimenez, right? Jimenez. It was well received, very well received. They invited people from their community, from different churches. Do you want to share anything about that? Well,
I'll just say that it was really well received. It was really well attended, and I don't know. We had a lot of questions from audience members, which is always an indication that people are really paying attention and they're very engaged. So, yeah, it went really well.
So we sometimes were able to do things like Jimmy's abuse seminar, or these are actually the guys that did the prison ministry seminar the year before. We're kind of in this position where we're able to coordinate different types of ministries and opportunities for people in North America to come down and do for the Ecuadorian church and for the Ecuadorian people. And then this, do you see your picture up there? I mean, we had this is the family mission trip. This is the week that the Somerset folks came down. With 10 or 11 of you all came down from Somerset. We had some folks, quite a few folks from Texas, a couple different churches in Texas. There's at least one from Washington, one from North Carolina or someplace, and I can't remember where else. But this was the week where families come down and we work together. We've had 4-year-olds up to 87-year-olds participate in this in the past. We didn't have how old was Isaac?
4.
4.
Yeah,
okay,
he just turned 4.
He just turned 4, so I think he was probably the youngest participant to ever come on this. And we did a lot of cool stuff that week. We did a vacation Bible school. We had a medical clinic. Jimmy did his seminar. Bill did the song leading seminar. We did some construction projects. I have a picture of that here a little bit too. This is from the previous year, working on one of those mud houses. You can see it there in the background. And we don't put the bricks, we don't replace it with the bricks, but what we do is we have to do some work on the edge of the top of the walls, and so we have to use those bricks to do that. And these guys, this is a doctor that didn't come this last summer, but he brings his 3 boys down, and he does the medical clinic in the afternoon, but in the morning he's out there working and getting dirty and nasty, and what they're doing is they're scraping off fungus and lichen from these tiles to be able to reuse them in these roofs that we're doing. And there's again, this is from the previous year, replacing the roof and doing some work on the roof. And then this is from this last summer. So a couple of these guys, a couple of these guys here, we were working on a pole barn to be able to store a couple of tractors and some other implements that we have there at the camp. And then how about that? You all recognize that? Bill? Or Jimmy? I mean, does that take you to a happy place? She's like, no. So one of the things, we figured if we can do basketball camp, we can also do baseball camp. And so this is a big rock wall that we're putting in the outfield of the baseball field, which really kind of wasn't there, but we're in the process of putting it in. And so there was a lot of work to be done. We were concerned about Bill one day because he was working really hard. And, some of these rocks are massive, right? Or the kids, the kids helped out, right? And they're out there working, and it was a lot of fun. Well, I'm sure it wasn't too much fun while you're there in the moment, but in hindsight, at least I hope that you all see what a blessing that was to be able to work together and with children, get to know some new brothers and sisters in Christ that you didn't know before, get to know some Ecuadorians that you didn't know before, and eventually, not this year, but eventually we're going to do baseball camp out there, and we're going to be teaching a bunch of kids about Jesus through baseball. This is also going to function as kind of a big amphitheater area for if we have host groups of like 3,000 people, which is kind of another part of the vision with that. These are the churches that support us. Somerset's up there on the list. We have a couple churches in Canada that support us, and then one in Frisco, Texas, one in Florida, one in Michigan, one in Nashville, and the Bellevue Church up in Seattle is our main sponsoring church. We are going around and we are fundraising, and we do have several needs at the camp. Somerset has been supporting us for years, and so this slide is in this presentation because I use this presentation in other places too. Certainly, if there's a need that you feel like you can help with, we want to talk to you about that. One of the things that we are, there's the wall, the camp wall is kind of the big thing. If those of you that were there this summer, you remember the front gate when you come into the camp, and the wall from the front gate all the way around that behind our house is in danger because the city wants to widen the road. So what happens when the city widens the road? We lose the wall, and it's going to cost $50 grand to replace that wall. So what we're wanting to do is actually purchase land on the other side of the road, and then we can push the road out to the side, and then we don't lose the wall and the security that provides for us. And then, there's to finish the excavation of the baseball field is going to cost about $5,000. You all weren't there when we did the excavating. That's probably a good thing. You wouldn't want to come back after that. That's our contact info. For those of you who don't have it and would like to have it, our email and our U.S. phone number. We're on Skype also. And then there's one other thing that I want to share with you. So give me just a second to bring that up. You have any questions?
What was everybody standing in the middle of the basketball court for?
That was basketball game.
Yeah,
And
they
so-
were all standing inside that circle.
In that little circle, and so I have another picture of me standing inside the circle, and they're all out around, and I'm teaching some lesson out of the Bible. But that particular lesson, they were doing physical exercise of some sort, because one of the things we talk about is spiritual health and physical health, right? And so they were doing some activity where they all had to come together and stand in that circle, and some guy was calling out commands, and they had to follow. And through Sunset Bible Institute, I saw back here yesterday, we were up here and you had a box of videos that Sunset had put together. They also have a little radio. Sorry, I didn't think what it was. The radio is solar powered. It has all the Bible on it. It has like over 30 different courses, not classes, courses. On that, and it has a whole bunch of acapella music on there, songs and that sort of stuff. And I don't remember the cost of. Remember how much each one of those cost? I don't remember. $500. $500. Yeah. So anyway, so we have passed out a few of those that people donated to us in the past. But that would be something that everybody wants one because they're really unique.
What's cell service like that? Do they have smartphones?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the main way of communicating.
Because there's a thing called YouVersion, it's free.
Yeah.
At Latin American or Spanish or English.
So what they use down there is an app called WhatsApp. Some of you may have WhatsApp. We always think it's funny because
What he's talking about though is the Bible app.
Yeah.
And yes, there are
yeah.
there are many different versions of the Bible in Spanish on YouVersion. I actually use one myself when I'm flipping between English and Spanish. to read. But yeah, there's
It's one of the translations, you can just
Uh-huh.
download it.
Yeah.
there's the King, Reina Valera is like King James, and they have NBI, which is the Nueva Versión Internacional, which is like our international version. A bunch of others. I mean, after English, I think there's more Spanish versions of the Bible than anything else on YouVersion. So yeah.
Yeah, any other questions? So this is basically a year review. This just kind of gives you in a nutshell what all has gone on at the campus last year, from September 2017 to August 2018. I'm sorry, this is the wrong one. This is, that's last year. Let me take me a second. Yeah, we'll share the maybe during the sermon. I have follow-up. We thank you all for your constant involvement and support, and we look forward to getting to visit with some of you all. And please, if you have any other questions, let us know. Okay? And please come back to Ecuador, or come to Ecuador, come back to Ecuador.